Welcome to episode 3 of Daz and Adz having our little simPRO chats. So, really enjoyed the first 2 episodes, Daz. What about you, mate?
Absolutely. Hopefully our listener and watcher base have done the same. We try every week just to give you some little bit of information, a bit lighthearted, put it into context, give you some reasons to use it, reasons not to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And today's going to be no different. So we're talking about mobile today.
We are. We're talking about the state of simPRO Mobile, which is going to be a fun one because I know that simPRO Mobile has been quite divisive over the last couple of years since it's been around. So depending on how long we go, this might maybe break into a bit of a 2-part chat. We'll see how we go if it goes a bit longer than what we expect it to, because there's a fair bit we want to cover off. So why don't we just dive straight in, because I think there's a lot of really good stuff about simPRO Mobile. So why don't we start with a review and kind of its evolution and where it's kind of come from. So from my perspective, I mean, I've kind of been playing with simPRO Mobile since it came out. It's been a bit of an interesting journey, I guess, to get it to where it is today through all the different modules that they've kind of released. So what are your thoughts, Daz? What do you reckon, man?
Well, let's have a quick review of the history.
Sure.
What started as simPRO Ultra Mobile, which was a web-based but a mobile formatted site where text would log in. It was 100%, through Safari or through Google or whatever. And then it became simPRO Connect. And while simPRO Connect got released, people were really annoyed that simPRO Connect couldn't do some of the things that simPRO Ultra Mobile could do. And there was a big uproar, but as it was a native app, an app that you could actually load up on the phone, people sort of adopted it and it became the next thing. So where next for the simPRO mobile phone and tablet type logins was simPRO Mobile. And simPRO Mobile was born originally with the sales in mind, and that was aimed at the US side of things. So if you use simPRO Mobile quote and sales module, you might see there's a little bit of bits and pieces that just discounts and memberships and things. They are actually aimed at the US market. Along came a brand new team who was then given the task of making the mobile app do everything that Connect could do and 100 times more. And so that team is its own team, and all they do is simPRO Mobile. They're not in charge of the rest of the enterprise with the other upgrades that go on within enterprise. They're in charge of the mobile app only. And the team leader who manages the whole team and is in charge of it is actually an ex-trainer. So what he brings to the table is front row, many, many years of people saying what it should do, what it doesn't do that it needs to do, what it does that it really shouldn't do it in a particular way. And so slowly but surely, he's adding all this stuff in. So where are we at right now with simPRO Mobile is a very good question. What's your take on where we are right now, Adz?
Yeah, look, I really like simPRO Mobile. Like as it stands today, I think it's probably cops a bit of unfair criticism, to be honest with you. Its journey to get to where it is today has been whatever the journey has been to get to where it is today. I mean, the fact that we kind of launched with the sales module, then we kind of went into the timesheet module. We've now gone into the service module. The service module has then had invoicing thrown into it, and now it's got assets thrown into it as well. I think it's really becoming a very complete application. I think it's been an interesting journey. I don't think it's been a flawless one. Like I think maybe if simPRO had their time again, I don't know if they probably would have done it the same way that it was rolled out, simply because they've had a couple of different teams look after it. As well as the modules that they chose to release and the success of those modules. I'm not sure whether they probably would have done it the same way if they had the time again. But I really do think it's gotten to a point now where it's very close to being in parity with simPRO Connect. And I don't really think too many reasons why you would stick with Connect over over mobile, unless there were very specific and niche parts of your workflow that haven't made their way in yet. But honestly, man, like maybe I've been really lucky with the phone that I've got and the build releases that I've got, but I've never really seen a lot of the bugs that other people have really set as showstoppers with it. I think it's been pretty good. Well, I think it is very good now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And with the last few releases, I'm just not seeing these issues that other people are talking about. And I'm just wondering if some of it is to do with the use, because it works differently than Connect worked.
Mm-hmm.
There is one bug, and I might, it's not really a bug, it's just a functionality difference between Connect and mobile, and it is going to be updated and changed very shortly. But one thing that I'm seeing a lot of people saying is, I click start and then I do my work and then I type in the times that I want it to be. And then when I submit it, it doesn't put those times in and it wipes them out and it puts it some other time in. Well, what it's doing is actually putting in from the time you hit start work until the time that you submitted the job. Now, if you were doing that properly, like probably we do, you wouldn't notice any bug, because if you hit start work when you arrive and you hit stop work when you finish, it just works. Yeah. What it does do is if you edit the times in the middle before you complete and submit that time, it will actually wipe that out and put in the actual times based on start and stop. Now you can go then, once you've submitted it, go back into the job and edit it, and it will sit with an edited version of your start and stop. That's probably the most common problem I'm seeing right now. So hopefully if anyone's experiencing that you can understand why it's doing it. Don't edit the times while you're in there. When you've completed it, hit submit and quickly go back in and edit it, and you should be right. But you're right. I'm not seeing the same issues that everybody else is, especially after the last few releases. And I really love how it's live, how you hit start travel. And when you arrive on site and you hit start job, bang, that time is in the schedule straight away. I love how when you take photos or attach photos from gallery, how it's uploading straight away in the background. No sync. It just uploads. I love that.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think from my perspective, I think a lot of it has probably been the messaging and the education of how the app works more than the actual app itself. I think people just looked at it and went, okay, well, this is a replacement of Connect, so therefore it should probably do everything that Connect does in the exact same way. And that was never the case, especially with the status times being recorded and the conversation that we've just had. I mean, the app is purely designed to work off the fact that you hit start travel, you get to site, you leave the job. And as long as you're doing it in the correct sequence, everything works really well. It's when you're trying to go back and manipulate and update times, like where in Connect you could hit start work, then just update your actual time blocks to whatever you want, just submit them for whatever you want. Mobile natively didn't work like that. And simPRO mobile natively worked by you following the workflow by hitting start travel, start work, finish work. And that's how it was originally designed to work. So whether the messaging or the education hasn't been correctly put out there to the users, I mean, that's not necessarily the app's fault. That's probably the messaging or the education of the application itself more than the app itself. Yep. Now, in saying all that, like it hasn't been sunshine and lollipops. I mean, when it was released, it did take like 20 minutes to load up for the first time, because it was trying to load every bit of information about everything. When you were submitting the job cards, it did take quite some time to sync at times. You know, there'd been little bugs about the attachment names not being done correctly, and there have been bugs along the way, but that's just the nature of releasing a brand new application. There's going to be bugs in any app that you release, but I think the team that's there now is doing a really good job at responding to those bugs and really squashing them, and not just squashing the bugs, releasing better ways to do its current workflow. So the background sync was incredible. You could upload photos into the app now, and before you even submit the job card, they're available in Enterprise because it is syncing in the background. You know, the way that the app loads up now and the way that the run sheet looks, and there's been some really nice refinements put into it over the last few months, and I think people really need to give it more of a chance.
Absolutely. And what I love about this team is they don't just make the mobile do what it did before. They supercharge it.
Mm.
They supercharge it. They, you know, oh, we've got attachments. Great, that's been inserted. No, no, no. We don't just have attachments. We have the ability to be able to open folders. We have the ability to attach into folders. We have the ability to look at site attachments, which all these things we've never been able to do before. We have the ability to upload 10 photos at a time from the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, hey, we've given you what Connect could do before. We're giving you that and 10 times more.
Yeah.
So you've got assets. Great. Fantastic. It does what it could do before. But now you can use an inbuilt barcode scanner from your camera, which is something that a lot of people wanted from a long time ago. You have assets, but assets on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
The way the test history works, you don't have to use the test history in your current testing results like you used to before. You can click a button to view only the test history and
Mm-hmm.
not have it insert its values into the current tests that you've done. Because previously, if you type some tests in and then you look at the history to have a look at what it was, it overwrites what you just typed in.
Yeah.
Now, it just shows you in a separate screen what the test history was. It's really quite amazing.
Mm. Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, it's like people do generally tend to look back with rose-colored glasses of Connect. It's very easy to forget like the incredible amount of bugs and issues and sync issues and not logging in and going to weird IP ban pages and all sorts of random stuff that Connect used to do. It's very easy to forget that Connect wasn't perfect, and it's very easy to bash mobile for not being Connect. But when you really compare them side by side, I really don't think it's unless, like I said, unless there are reasons why you're not going to migrate. And there still are reasons, unfortunately, but I know that the team's working pretty hard to get everything into mobile that was in Connect. And I don't think it's very far away from being at that point, really, unless tasks and site purchase orders and any of those other little kind of niche things, or maybe push notifications or anything that's really going to prevent you from going over. I don't think there's really a good reason not to anymore.
Yeah, there's not many. There's create a job.
Mm.
There's tasks, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
There's push notifications, which really should never prevent anyone from going across without a push notification. If it's that urgent, send him a message or give him a call. You know, it's push notifications is nice. It should not be a stop all. And yeah, stock purchase orders is probably the last one. And to be honest, the benefits you get from mobile, if you have to go open Connect to create a stock purchase order, if that's the only thing you need it for,
just use it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got some customers that are side booting both of them because Connect is the notification and they use mobile to complete the job. I know it's not ideal, but it's a workaround, and it's not that hard of a workaround. You just got to have Connect open in the background, really. That's it.
From what I understand, it's going to be around 3 months, maybe even less, but let's say 3 months from now, Connect will be done. Everything that Connect can do will be in simPRO Mobile. And already simPRO Mobile can do 100 more things than Connect could ever do before. Yeah. So by the time 3 months rolls around, Connect's done. Yeah. So unless you've got a really good reason for not being on it, in my mind, you should be on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that, mate. I think I definitely think it's getting to that point now, that critical mass where you've almost just got to go to mobile because the amount of benefits you're getting far outweigh whatever cons that you can muster up for it. Because I mean, there are still some little bits and pieces I'd like to see improve. Like I'd really like to see a better workflow for creating jobs in simPRO Mobile. It's one of my probably biggest bugbears is you have to go into the quote and sales module to create a job, to then close that out, to then search for the job inside of the service module. But they're really pretty minor complaints in the grander scheme of things. So I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not going to jump up and down and say it's the best thing in the world, but my gosh, it's much better than Connect. much.
And it's really only, from what I understand, 4 to 6 weeks really before that functionality will be in service. And to some degree, you should almost never have to leave service. So we've covered a few things that mobile does more than Connect. I'm going to cover off a few, and then I'll see if you can fill any gaps in that I've missed as well. So we've got attachments. It uploads straight away. You can attach 10 images at a time from your gallery. You get site notes, which you've never been able to do before, and site attachments, which I mentioned previously that you've never been able to do before. You are able to see the salesperson, the project manager, the site contact, the customer contact, and the job contact, all available from within the job itself. What else can you think of that the mobile app does that the Connect doesn't do?
I really should have prepared a list for this.
No, I put you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, I put you on the spot. Oh, crikey!
I took the easy ones. I'll give you the hard ones. What's next?
Look, I mean, obviously all the above.
What he said. Yes.
Yeah, everything that he said.
Yeah.
You've covered off all the main ones, man. I mean, the fact that you've got a really nice view of your day. So, I mean, one of the little things that you never really got out of simPRO Connect was being able to have a nice, efficient way to be able to just do some spot checks of your week. I know that a lot of people kind of, because you start work, finish work, and whatever else there is, having the ability just to hit that button at the top of the screen, or sorry, the bottom of the screen, to then have a look at your times for the day or for the week and just do a spot check to make sure that you've actually counted for 8 hours every day, jump back into those 8 hours and just easily plug in the activities or whatever else there may have been. That's awesome. Being able to make sure that you've got a full week accounted for. That's a really cool feature.
And if you're clocking in at the beginning of the day and then doing your jobs and clocking out at the end of the day, it even comes up and tells you that you've got clashes or you've got big gaps in your schedule. I think that's exactly as you said. It's a really good thing from a timesheeting perspective. So a few other things that I can think of, and if you haven't guessed, mobile is something I'm very passionate about. So it's my area of expertise potentially, because I think Connect was lacking for so long, and I'm so invested in mobile being fantastic, and it already is, and it's going to get better. So a few other things. If there's notes in any of the areas, whether they be cost center notes, job notes, site notes, customer notes, there'll actually be a little indicator to tell you when you hit start work. So you've done start job, start travel. Now you're on start work. If there are any pre-audits you have to do, it automatically comes up and actually takes you to the pre-audits that you have to do. When you've completed a pre-audit, if there's a second audit you have to do, it'll take you straight to the second audit, one after the other, which is really quite good as far as the workflow goes. And the next thing I can think of is, and one of my favorite things is the full details with tables, with
what you see,
bold, italic, etc. What you see is what you get is currently in the description. You can also put it on the invoice, or if you're doing quotes, you can actually put it on the quotes. And a little sneak preview of what's coming a little bit later in this particular episode. We're going to cover extra things that are coming up very shortly, but I'll give you one of those now, is that what you see is what you get, meaning bold, italic, different font sizes, etc., and tables, is actually coming to the work notes of each technician as well. So they will be able to select a script, insert it with full formatting, and they will be able to then edit it and add formatting to that. Fantastic. There's a few other things, I suppose, that we can do. The ability to be able to scan stock is coming very soon, but we can scan assets. So you have a barcode, you can actually use your camera to scan it right now. And I think that's pretty amazing. It's something, where we needed an extra barcode scanner or something independent. Now we can do it straight away, straight through the app, through your camera.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I think one of the other cool little things where you were talking about, where they're not just trying to replace Connect, they're trying to make a better app, It's just the fact that if you're also using a phone or using a tablet, the interface is slightly different from a phone to a tablet too. They've even put some thought into the fact that if you've got more real estate on a tablet, there's no logical reason why it should look the same. Why not just use all that real estate with 2 columns next to each other in the tablet? Just those little things that they've kind of done that you probably don't take for granted, but that they means they're actually thinking their way through it. And they're kind of thinking about what's the best way to utilize the most amount of space on a tablet without having to consistently keep scrolling down. You might as well use a phone otherwise.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, Connect just made everything bigger.
Yeah,
it wasn't particularly useful. Everything was just supersized.
Yeah.
So while you were thinking, sorry, did you have something?
I was just going to say, one of the other things that I really like that they've just very recently put in is the fact that when you now go to select your status as to why you're submitting the job, that box actually pops up to give you enough real estate to see the full reason why you're leaving. Before it chopped it off, we only got a little snippet of it, and now you can actually see the whole thing. And so it just kind of goes to show that they're listening to say, okay, well, we introduced this box, didn't work very well, let's now fix it by adding in a bigger box. It's just those little things where those little things make up a better experience. The signature panels now being bigger and now working better. All those little tiny things that they're doing that will just further enhance the application.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if we add to that a few extra things while you're talking that I thought of as well, we've got, when you add the materials that you've used and you type in the work description, now you might also type in technician notes, which are somewhat secret. They're the notes that you don't necessarily want on your invoice, but things that are relevant to the job about why it took so long or what else happened on site, etc. When you now go to review, previously you hand the customer a blank screen that they're supposed to sign, and they've got no context for what they're actually signing. Mm-hmm. Well, with this app now, they can see the description you typed in, the materials that you used, and a little note to say, the start and finish time. And, I agree that this person has been on site working today. They actually get some context. So when you hand it to them, they can actually say, oh, I see what I'm signing off on. You've done this work, you've used this materials, and you're here for this long, sign. And it hides all those things you don't want them to see. It doesn't show them prices or anything, of course. I think that's a really good point as well. And unfortunately, I get quite a few people saying, oh, I don't want to be able to email that to people. But at the same time, I get quite a few customers saying, I would love us to be able to email the job card, because we get customers saying, I need a job card on the spot. You used to tear off a piece of paper and give it to me. Now what do I get? Well, now there's actually a button. You can click the button so that you can email the site contact or anyone else you like the job card upon completion. And I think that's a really nice touch as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. I've had quite a lot of customers say that to me. I mean, the fact that they wanted to have the photos or attachments emailed out with it, I think that might be possibly coming at some stage as well, being able to email the photos from the app too. But at least being able to email out the job card. And I mean, there's no reason why you can't just, in Enterprise, just modify the job card just to basically say what the works requested were, the works completed notes, and the signature panels on there. Remove out anything else that you don't want on there, but you're at least leaving the customer something tangible that they can hold until they've got their invoice to say, this is what we did, this is why I was called out, here's the signature to say that it's completed. I think there's a lot of really good benefits there.
Absolutely. And the new platform now works with the Square app. So if you've got the Square reader, which is that little Bluetooth square, literally.
It's called a square because it's a square.
Exactly.
No.
You can actually swipe credit cards straight in, and the invoice can be created and payment taken, no cash received, straight into the bank account. And I think that's really good as well. There's a lot of good reasons why you would want to collect payment upfront from the customer. And the fact that you can just tap and go, essentially, makes a huge difference. So you're not typing the credit card in, they can actually use debit cards as well.
Yeah, because I know there was a bit of pushback with Connect where you actually needed to type the you need to actually type in the credit card number into the app. A lot of my customers will say, well, their customers just don't want to take the phone and then just type their credit card number into someone else's phone. So that prevented a lot of people actually being able to do it. The fact that it was only credit cards as well. And so if there was an FPOS or savings or check or whatever it may be, they couldn't actually take those payments. That obviously the Square integration then also goes a little bit deeper where it goes into enterprise as well, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, that Square integration is a really good one. Like, yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. So we've covered off where simPRO Mobile is at now. We've covered off the difference between Connect and mobile and what are the extra features in mobile that you get. We also covered off what you don't get in mobile, which was tasks, push notifications, stock purchase orders, and you can still create those job purchase orders, so that's fine. So I think it's a good time to break this episode now and have a part 1. And in part 2, we'll be looking at upcoming features. Should you switch? Realistically, which people should switch and which people should stay where they are? And also, what about hardware? So phone versus tablet, and also iPhone versus Android, which is always controversial.
Not really. It's a clear win for Android.
Go Apple. So I'm Darren Whitby. I run Platinum Consultants, and I'm contactable at darren@platinumconsultants.com.au, and look up my website, platinumconsultants.com.au, for any other details. And what about you, Adz?
Yep. Obviously, amak Consulting, as it says, no, wrong way, just there. So you can get me at amak.consulting, as well as info@amak.consulting. So yeah, good chat, Daz. I'm looking forward to the part 2, man.
Absolutely. And as always, subscribe, comment, and you can send us an email with any feedback or topic requests to
simprochats@gmail.com. It's a new, it cut me some slack. It's a new email address.
That's why I passed it to you.
I didn't sound very confident saying that one.
Brand new. It's only a few hours old.
Yeah.
A few weeks old, maybe.
Yeah, let's go with weeks. Yeah. Good times. All right, guys. We'll see you in the
next episode. Part 2 coming up shortly.
Bye.
See ya.